welcome back. And as we earlier said, Presidential Spokesman Bassam Radi said that Egypt has a firm stance when it comes to Arab solidarity, the unity, the reconciliation, the collaborated front, and there is always a keen intention to settle any misunderstandings or differences among the Arab countries of the region. And he also reiterated that the Arab joint action is important to protect the Arab national security and maintain the regional stability. He also stressed that President Abdel al-Sisi is always underlining the need for enhancing the sense of belonging and boosting cooperation and collaboration between different countries, with, of course, the consideration that Egypt is taking the lead role in that particular sense. To shed more light on the topic, we're joined in the studio by Mr. Rahman. He's our political analyst. Good morning, Mr. Rahman. How are you doing? I want you to describe the Egyptian-Arab relations. How does it look like to you? How do you assess it?
It's a be or not to be situation for us as Arabs, as a united power, as a united force. There is each and every moment, each and every minute, each and every day, there is a new news on the horizon, and they are all critical. And if we didn't get united before, it's time for us as Arabs, as an Arabic nation.
What exactly is the joint, from your own assessment? What is the joint point of attraction or the joint topic that gather the whole Arab countries together? What is the most common interest that might bring all Arab countries together in the current situation?
Not only.
Of course, there are different issues.
Of course, I know that. Not only our best interests. This can be said about partnership with a friendly country. But no, we are talking about a battle of existence.
That's true.
A battle of existence. To be or not to be. What's going on in the north? Let me divide the earth into two sectors. What's going on in the north, in Europe, and in Middle Asia, and the wars just about to become real in the north, it will affect the nations in the south, in the east, the Arabic east. We're going to be all affected, and our lands will be threatened, not only by the consequences of the military actions being taken up in the north, but also nations. Maybe I'm predicting more than talking about what's going on right now. Nations in Europe and in Asia will find a shelter in our home Arabic nation, away from the conflict that's going on abroad. One more thing here, that we are in a position that we shouldn't take full side in the conflict. We should stick to our own strategy as a united power, the Arabic united power, the Arabic united army. If there was a need for this army, we need it now. The United Arabic Army, led by Egypt. This is very critical and important. If we don't understand that the people around, the world around us is just being dragged into a severe conflict, a very dangerous conflict between the East and the West. We have a country that was trying to fight for its own national security. Russia is defending its rights in the border, the security of the borders around it, in Kherson and in Zaporozhye and the Donbass. Russia have every right to defend its own
it's its sovereignty
existence. I'm not just talking about security, I'm talking about existence.
Of course.
On the other hand, some nations in Europe are just paying the price for the misleading
that is done by the West
of their leaders. We're talking about the bad decision of the new prime minister in Britain, which is talking about moving its embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, which is a refused decision and a very critical taken. It's a very critical decision taken by a political amateur who doesn't know the consequence of such a decision in such matter, in such time, in such a phase of the conflicts that's going around all the world.
Right. So, of course, Egypt is leading a very important role when it comes to inside the Arab region, and we all know it. And this role has been intensified and has been very significant ever since President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has set his feet into office and has been exercising his soft power, the intelligence, and also bringing together, I mean, reviving the Arab sovereignty and Arab unity and the sense of belonging between Arab nations. These are very, very important values, and it's also values of strength to countries.
Of course, of course.
It has had a great impact over the Arab region. Talk to us about the way, how do you assess the role of President Sisi boosting the Egyptian unity with the Arab nations and strengthening the spirit between Arab nations, and, you know, what he is in fact affecting inside this region ever since he came to power?
We paid lots of sacrifices, lots of sacrifices to start and launch this spirit of unity between the Arabic countries as one nation. Mr. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has set an example of how to lead this nation, and it's a gathering leading, not just led by Egypt and the associates in Saudi Arabia and the Gulf countries. I remember that one of the most important steps taken by Mr. President was to move towards Russia. Not because, or not just because to be an ally. We are not an ally of Russia. We are strategic partners. As well as we are strategic partners to the US. We are, for the first time in this region, to have the same partnership with both sides in the East and in the West. Before this step, we have never witnessed a visit paid by Mr. Putin or the Russian president to Gulf countries. Or the other side, we have witnessed meetings and very important decision and cooperation, high-level cooperation between Saudi Arabia and Russia. We made this balance, not because we are in love with some power or we in favor of some power. We seek our own best interests as Arab, as an Arabic nation, as an Arabic leader in Cairo, Egypt. Afterwards, that step, all the Arabic nations took the same model and moved on the same course. Not, of course, with the same strength and persistence of the Egyptian leadership, but at least in the same course. And now we witness that the Gulf countries is taking firm decision towards the US. And then they don't give a damn about their threats, not anymore. They are not treating the US president as a god or something. No, not anymore. We have made that very strong step to lead this nation towards our own best interest path between the East and the West. This takes great guts, great courage, and strength. We have the strength, thanks to Allah, of our army, which is the strongest army in the whole region, and the strongest army in the whole continent of Africa and in the East. This power gives us the strength to lead, not only militarily, we're talking about diplomatically, we're talking about politically, we're talking about economically. We can now take our own decision economically that fits our own best interests, not the other, not the, as they call it, but not anymore, greater powers. The main conflict, if there's going to be a conflict, will be between the East and the West again. And we are, as the Eastern most important power, will lead those nations, those Arabic nations. I might just add it as an Arabic nations. We're not the same race, but we are an Arabic nations. Together, all should face those threats hand by hand and realize there is no power in the world but has its own greeds in our wealth, in our lands, and seeking to break our independence. That will never be tolerated and will never be allowed.
That's true. I'm going to take it from here and mentioning the solidarity that you're talking about. Egypt has a firm stance when it comes to this solidarity, and they're very keen, I mean the Egyptian administration, on settling differences and containing conflicts, I mean from time to time. It's very important. The new Egyptian policy of the new republic is to maintain solidarity, is to have a long vision for sustainable development. This would never be affected except with solidarity. It could never be affected with conflict of interest. It could never be affected with skirmishes or with, conflicts of any type. And that's how Egypt have overcame all its differences, even that existed with other countries. I mean, there was other regimes, and there was a certain country inside the region that had differences and conflicts with most of the Arab countries. Egypt was the first to settle these differences in a very smart, diplomatically and politically, and without any losses. I want you to elaborate over it, because this is a very important point.
It's the Egyptian vision. With this Arabic sense, this Arabic common sense, or the Arabic common vision, we are dealing with nations, not just regimes. We are talking about the Arabic nations, the Arabic people, whatsoever, in the Gulf or in the north of Africa, or our neighbors in Sudan. We are talking about nations, not just regimes. This is the reason we have overcome too many differences and too many, and as I said, too many sacrifices made to achieve this vision of unity. And we will never accept but the acceptance from other regimes upon this very important vision. This is the only way we can face the strategic challenges all over the world, and of course the consequences of the coming important events that are going to take place in Europe, and will affect our currency, will affect our economy, will affect our too many things. But the strength of our decision, united decision, will help us fight back, will help us prevent any damages that can come over our countries. They need to understand this. And this is why, one of the reasons that Mr. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi went to Qatar the last week. He needed for the regime to realize this is the only way the acceptance of the united vision towards the worldwide events that are taking place. There are no time anymore for any actions against this vision, this united vision, this common united vision as Arabs, as Arab nations. It's time for us to lead as Egypt, to lead the Arabic world in this very important conflict, and take the lead safe and sound with the less conflicts we can go through. We don't need wars right now. Some powers are just driving and dragging the world into wars and into conflicts and military actions. We don't need these wars right now.
And also in the middle of all that, in order to achieve a full new reform policy, modern policy of soft power, there was also a redirecting of policies towards tolerance towards the opposition, different types of opposition. And lately we have witnessed a huge step of reconciliation with the different opponents who came over to Egypt and who were released, and also who were introduced to the political scene once again for negotiating with the government. And the government was stretching its hands to those type of opponents who had their concerns and had their reservations that were not fair against the Egyptian people and against the government. But again, the government or the Egyptian administration have stretched its hands and opened the doors wide open for negotiations and for bringing all parts together, including the opponents, under one umbrella of reconciliation and solidarity. So how do you see this step, and explain to us what is the wisdom behind this policy?
First, only a strong country and a strong leadership would take such a decision to welcome the what they call themselves opposition members or whatsoever. Second, if the door is opened for such characters like those, not because we are weak and not because we had to, it's because this is their last chance to stand behind the country and the nation and the leadership. We are going through a very critical phase in our history. We don't need opposition. We need the unity of the decision, not opposition. It's not a matter of parties and each and every party has their own opinion. No, we don't need that, not now and not so ever, and not ever, and not anymore. We have the military leadership that is leading the country politically, militarily, economically. Opposition on the French way, we don't need it. We don't need such way of thinking right now. We will divide our will. We need to unite our own will to make it strong as one hand, one leadership, as an army around its own leader. Third, the crime committed against the security of Egypt will be tolerated and will be punished. It will be punished now or tomorrow or the next year, but it will be punished. We don't need, as a country, as a new Misr, as a new republic, building the basis of law and the strength of this country and the true just that this country should be built upon, that can never tolerate allowing some criminals to get away with their own crimes committed against our own national security. We are opening the door, but that doesn't mean we're gonna forgive those who committed crimes against our national security. From this vision, I believe that Mr. President Abdel Sisi has just started this step and opened the door to make each and every citizen in his own position in the most clear way and the most opening face. Show yourself so we can speak. Show me yourself, who you really are. And what is your own stand with or without or against us as a country. I'm not talking about any other thing. We're talking as a country, as a nation.
Right. On this note, Mr. Amr Abdurrahman, our political analyst, would like to thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
And you have a beautiful day. Our pleasure. And we're going to go to a short break, and we'll come to continue the breakfast show, so stay with us.